And, okay, lifting up a little bit too fast there. Careful. Oh, no! Oh, no! They crashed into the top of the hangar. The cutter. Oh, no. It's about to hit the side of the hangar. Oh, no! Avenger as well. Oh, watch the backside. Oh, no! They clipped the backside. Bonk. But, yeah, nothing's going to happen to it because, yeah, the server is completely stalled out. Oh, there we go. Although they didn't close the hangars, they took... I don't know why I find that funny, just having the hangar open like that. Cutlass is one of the harder ships to land. Can they pull it off? No gear. Gear is coming down as they make their touchdown. They're lining up. Welcome, pilots. My name is Hybrid V, and we are back once again to watch your takeoff and landings here in Star Citizen here at New Babbage on Microtech to watch the players as they come and go from New Babbage Interstellar Spaceport. And I'm here in the Sabre ready to watch players as they come and go. So, if you are new to the series, this is where I go around various spaceports in Star Citizen and I watch players as they come and go and give them a rating out of 10 based on how cinematic their takeoffs or landings are. The criteria is very simple. So in Star Citizen, most players are just going to land like normal. They're going to have their gear out, whatever. As long as they don't explode by the time they touch down, that's pretty much generally going to be a good thing in like 90% of players' books, right? But what we're looking for here on the show is to see which players put a little bit of 110% more into their landing. So, cinematic landing is a player coming in to land using VTOLs if their ship has it, being very smooth on approach, so no hesitation, no stair-stepping, no keyboard catting, also no impacts with the walls or anything like that, but also, most importantly, making sure the gear comes out after they have entered the hangar rather than doing it from far away. Yes, I always get comments in every single one of my videos. That's not very realistic. Planes and we're not flying planes. We are in a video game, a sci-fi video game of that. And also, our criteria is based on sci-fi cinematic nature, right? So anything that looks like something you'd see in sci-fi media. And in sci-fi media, all the time you see the gear come down right before they touch down because it looks cool, not because it's functional necessarily. And that's what we're doing here as well. We want to see which players are actually doing that. Not 90% of about all the player base probably don't do it, but that's perfectly fine. But every single episode, we tend to get one or two players that does match that criteria. So we have a player taking off here, a Constellation, and this is a good time to talk about a cinematic takeoff. In this case, you would want to have your gear up as soon as you've lifted off the pad before you've exited the hangar. In this case, we have a late gear retraction, right? VTOL needs to be used where applicable. In this case, this Constellation has VTOLs, however, we don't see it being actually active here, so that would be points taken away as well. As well as we make sure there's no hesitation, no stair-stepping, no keyboard catting, no collisions or anything like that with any objects, other players, or anything of that nature. So that is what we are looking for in this case here. So we have two missing elements for the most part for this Constellation, so that would be about an 8 out of 10 for this takeoff. Very good, very smooth. Also, they took off a little bit of hesitation, but they were above the towers up there, so I'm not going to knock off points for hesitating too much there. Overall, though, very, very good. All right, side-on small hangar opening up here. Let's see if we have somebody taking off or landing here. I do quite enjoy New Babbage, despite the fact that it has tons of blizzards in this area, and that's because it has side-on hangars. As many of you know, I love the side-on hangars, just because it has an amazing, beautiful vista when you're taking off in the smaller hangars, and I would love for CIG to put even more larger and even an extra large side-on hangar if they could really do it, like for example on the Castro system, right? That would be really cool. I would love to see it. I just think that it is just like the best type of hangar in general. And what we have here is an Avenger kind of struggling to get off the pad here, but they are now finally up in the air with that Invictus skin, by the way. Gear is still down, and away they go off into the New Babbage downtown area. Nope, they're going to go straight up into space, it looks like. Very nice takeoff there, although we had some hesitation getting off the pad. It looked like they were probably not giving enough juice to get off the pad there. So they kind of hesitated a little bit there, and then of course their gear was down even as they left the hangar there and continued to gain speed. So I'm going to say that's about a 7 out of 10 there. Definitely could be tweaked to be a lot better for sure. But yeah, side-on hangars are my absolute favorite. This is the reason why I love Area 18, because if you do get a small hangar, you get a side-on hangar. Though if you are setting it as your home and you have, for example, a large hangar, anything bigger than the small hangar, generally you're going to get the medium, large, and extra large hangars, and unfortunately, those are not side-on hangars. So yeah, I'm hoping that CIG, maybe with the Castro system, will consider doing much larger hangars that are side-on, kind of like we have with the space stations, right? So that would be nice. Vertical hangars have their place, but they're not always the most fun, in my opinion. They can be the most hardest to land in, but they also are not the best to watch players come and go from. Not like the side-on hangers. I think those are much more fun to watch players come and go from. All right, let's go ahead and, oh, we have a secondary hanger on the right side, another medium hanger. Oh, here we go. Our customer is now taking off. We have a Freelancer Max taking off, you can tell, because of the orange coloration and the fatter body on it. Gear was already up by the time they left the hangar. You love to see it. No hesitation on their way out, so this would be a 10 out of 10 takeoff. Getting a 10 out of 10 on takeoff is very, very easy as long as you follow the criteria. In this case, there is no VTOL needed because the Freelancers do not have a VTOL right now. So overall, very easy to pull off, very nice, and a beautiful 10 out of 10 to start off with. So our first 10 out of 10 for this episode. Let's go ahead and jump back down over here and let's take a look at this other hangar over on the right and see how things are shaping up over here. Whoops, I accidentally hit F4 by accident, so I went back into first person. I don't always do everything in first person, folks. I always get comments like, why don't you ever do this in first person? The reason why I don't do this in first person is because I'm not trying to actually call players out. Obviously, if I go into first person, my radar is going to give me the name of players, and a lot of players end up being kind of a little bit self-conscious of their landings, and we don't want to laugh at them and their name. We want to enjoy the idea of watching players take off and land, but from an anonymous perspective. I don't want to go out there and call people out for having bad takeoff or landings. And we have a Cutlass Black screaming from the skies down here. VTOL being used. Love to see it. Now, the Cutlass Black tends to be the hardest ship to use when it comes to VTOL because you see those engines pointed down. Those engines are needed to go forward and back as well, so it can be really hard to actually control the Cutlass when it's in VTOL mode. Unfortunately, this Cutlass took a little bit too long and their hangar timed out. So one of the other criteria that we take points away for is if you take too long to get to your hangar and your hangar times out, we do take a point away for that. And in this case, although I love seeing the VTOLs being used on the Cutlass, unfortunately their hangar has timed out, which is going to cost them. Because now they have to hover over the pads. They have to essentially hesitate over and block the pathways leading out of the hangar. Luckily, it's just over the same hangar they're probably going to get called into. But still, you don't want to block the traffic ways. You don't want to be a potential problem for other players trying to leave or come through the area. So in this case here, all this hesitation is caused by them being a little bit too late there. Well, let's see how they do. They're still hovering there. They should have called by now. Maybe they're still trying to struggle through their menus or something like that. Either way, this player did unfortunately come a little bit too late, though. You saw how fast they were screaming through the sky, and they used their VTOLs. The Cutlass has very, very strong VTOLs, which is also really useful when you use it with your bottom thrusters, which this player did here, to slow themselves down, which is always a really good strategy. A lot of players don't use the VTOLs enough, and I always recommend use the VTOLs, even in combat for the Cutlass. The VTOLs are very, very good for the Cutlass. All right, they are now making their descent approach. You can see how there's some stair stepping as they come in, so this tells me that this is more than likely a keyboard player here, which nothing wrong with that. It's just that you're going to get a lot of this stair stepping action, especially if you use couple mode a lot, and I don't think they deployed their gear. I did not see the gear come down, so I think they just belly flopped directly into the ground. So we had this hesitation, this keyboard cat nature. They're using VTOL luckily, which I applaud them for, but then it's just belly flopped onto the bottom of the hangar there. Again, folks, this is why I don't go into first person to show names, right? Because of the fact that you could potentially see this player's name, and I don't want to call the player out directly. So we had a no gear deployment, which means they had an impact with the bottom of the hangar. Good VTOL usage, massive amounts of hesitation, and of course we also have the hangar being timed out as well, so I have to take quite a bit of points for that. So that is going to be a 4 out of 10 on that landing. And we have a small hangar on the side here. I didn't see anything in there, so it tells me that someone is probably on the way. I also see somebody off in the distance, a big ship on the distance. What is that? That big giant metal Twinkie tells me that that is indeed a Caterpillar on approach. We'll take a look at that shortly, but I want to see who's coming in here. We have an Avenger coming in. Avengers seem to be all the rage right now. Gear is down early. You can see those wheels sticking out of the bottom of the Avenger as it comes in. Nice and smooth so far. Looking good. Doing a little bit of stair step action as they're trying to readjust their altitude before they pop in. Works perfectly fine for me though. Looks good, look good. And it looks like they're going to align themselves with their cargo elevator, which is why I don't rate anymore based on how people are centered, simply because of the fact that a lot of players are just doing cargo missions. I'm more interested in the smooth landing aspect. Very nice landing right there. They just missed the gear, and there's a little bit of hesitation, so I'd say that's an 8 out of 10. Very, very good, though. Let's check out this Caterpillar. Early gear deployment before they head into the hangar here. No VTOLs on the Caterpillar to worry about, so all they have to do is just bring it in nice and easy. They probably want to line up with the horizon a little bit more there because their nose is kind of, their nose is a little bit too far downwards there. They're going to have some nasty snapping action when they eventually land on the ground there. Lining themselves up with their cargo elevator. Once again, like I said, doesn't matter with the alignment because of this. A lot of players are doing cargo missions and they want to actually align themselves with their cargo hangars. Let's see how smooth this touchdown actually is. A little bit rough, and that's because the nose was still down a little bit too much. If they were a little bit more horizontally lined up, if you use your pitch ladder, right, folks, on your HUD there, and you use that to line up to make sure that you're nice and level, you get much smoother landings. So overall, we have early gear deployment, a lot of hesitation as they came in, and of course the landing was a little bit rough. Could say that's about a 7, but it's more of an 8 because I think overall they did a really good job for the most part. All right, while we wait for the next customer here, folks, I do want to remind you that we are going to be having a smooth landing competition. We do have a finalized date now of the 1st of March, but also we're going to have 2 practice days on the 21st and 22nd of this month. So that is literally this coming weekend. So if you're interested in actually taking part in the competition, that'll be a great place to actually practice. And even if you're not interested in the competition, you just want to either watch or you want to improve your own skills when it comes to your takeoff and landings or just pilot skills in general, that's going to be the place to be. The actual dates and times and all that is going to be referenced on our Discord down there. So be sure to click the links to get into Discord if you're interested in actually checking those out, whether you want to be part of the practices or you want to be part of the competition or you just want to watch. That's going to be the place to be. Anyway, so we have a small hangar here opening up. Let's see, is it somebody taking off or somebody coming in to land? I'm going to try to mosey on in a little bit over here and see if I can see a ship taking off. And I do indeed see what appears to be a Pisces. We have a Pisces getting ready for takeoff on the deck there with the nice black livery. I don't remember exactly what all the liveries are called on the Pisces, but this is a very nice one for sure. I'll have to look it up later to see what it actually is. And, okay, lifting up a little bit too fast there. Careful. Oh, no! Oh, no, they crashed into the top of the hangar, and I think they are down. Yeah, they are definitely destroyed, if not at least soft death. I don't see other parts of the ship, so that tells me they might be actually soft death. Oh, I didn't actually expect that to happen. That's why I zoomed out the camera. I saw them take off. They were a little bit too fast there, and then I guess they just gave it the beans and just went straight for the roof, and they just imploded. Oh, no. That is unfortunate. Yeah, you don't see that too often. I mean, anything could have happened. Like this person, maybe they had a lag spike, or maybe they just gave it a little too much juice. And, shift happens out here in Star Citizen. I know many of you players out there have the same issues as well. You can see the Pisces kind of poking through the hangar here as it's trying to close. Yeah, wow, this is why, folks, again, I don't go into first person to watch takeoff and landings because I don't want to call this player out. I know many of you have expressed in my comment section how much you are annoyed with the game at any given moment in time. You can imagine that player's probably raging if they, maybe they're either beating themselves up or Star Citizen screwed them royalty. Either way, they are not having a good day. And I'm not here to make fun of them for that, all right? We're here to watch and enjoy, but we're not here to call people out specifically. All right. We have a Zeus taking off here. Gear is still down, and the ramp, the ramp is definitely up on there. Looking good so far. Nice and smooth, straight up. Ooh, yep, there we go. Okay, all in one motion. Gear is up, and away they go. That'd be a 9 out of 10. I would like to see the gear come up before they had left the hangar, but overall, very, very smooth there. Yeah. Unfortunate for that Pisces. It does happen. It does indeed happen. Medium hangar here. We do have what appears to be another Cutlass on approach with VTOL actually active here. Looking solid as they come in. Same hangar as the other Cutlass we saw earlier. Hopefully this one doesn't belly flop on the ground. We'll see how things shake out here. Careful with the backside of the ship there. Careful. Don't bump it. Ooh, just barely missed. A lot of stair-stepping action here as they come down. Again, I like the effort of using the VTOLs, but we do still have a lot of hesitation in stair-stepping as they approach. You want to make sure you do it all in one smooth motion, but again, props for them using the VTOLs here where applicable. And there goes the gear. And there's still a little bit above, and there we go, touchdown. Very nice. Very nice. Nice and centered too as well. So overall, very good. Take a look at my fuel here, because sometimes the Saber can be a little bit deceptive in how much it uses as H fuel. But yes, very, very nice approach there. Overall, we had VTOL usage. Unfortunately, we had a lot of stair-stepping, which caused a lot of hesitation, but they were still nice and centered, and you guys know I don't rate based on how centered somebody is. I don't take points away, but I will give kudos for those of you that decide to land directly in the center there. So we do have some stair-stepping. Luckily, ooh, look at that. We have an Avenger with the gear still as they take off. They just leave the gear down as they go, whatever. I'll figure it out later when I go into quantum. It'll figure itself out. But yeah, so I like the VTOL usage. Gear was out before they touched down. You guys noticed that the gear was actually not out anywhere in there until they actually went through the hangar itself. So I like seeing that. Unfortunately, they just had some stair-stepping. If they can control some of that stair-stepping on their approach, that would be a 10 out of 10, but we are still missing some of the elements. So I'm going to say that's a 9 out of 10 landing. Very, very good. Could be a lot better. I could even bring it down to an 8, just because some of the hesitation was actually pretty harsh there. But I'm going to be generous. I'm going to say it's a 9 out of 10. It's very, very good. Could be a lot better for sure. You know, we have been getting lucky with the weather so far. It has been absolutely clear up until this point, and I'm actually stunned. I have never had New Babbage be this clear for this long. It's been like, about 20 minutes, to almost 30 minutes of my recording, according to OBS over here. Yeah, it's definitely been quite a bit here, and we have nothing but clear skies the entire way. And yeah, I don't know if CIG has changed anything. Maybe they have. Maybe they've updated the weather data. But one of the reasons why I've always despised New Babbage and Microtech in general is just the amount of storms that happen in the area, and it's just really annoying, and it just really takes away from the visibility that we can see of players coming and going. Let's go ahead and pop on over here to the viewing lounge here. I want to show you guys something here. For those of you that may not be aware, this is actually where the viewing lounge is. You can see how it actually phases in, and you can see those are the NPCs there. You can see players here. I don't see any players here actually right now, and actually on the right over here is the ASOP terminals. The automated ship organization platform terminals are all set up there, and the elevators. And as I back away, you'll see the windows actually become opaque once more. So that's render culling, as it's known as. So that's how you save performance, right? Because at this distance, I don't really need to have all the information of those NPCs and players and whatnot running around back there. So that saves you a little bit of frames, but just a little bit of fun there for those of you that may be a little bit newer to New Babbage. That is actually the viewing platform where it's actually located, because it's in real space. It's a real location. It's not like an instance location or anything like that. Oh, we have what appears to be a Spirit on approach, and then the small hangar opening up on the side here. We have a little Aurora coming out with its gear still down. Aurora is still a very popular starter ship. I know it sounds strange to say, especially if you're a little bit more of a veteran of Star Citizen, but to my understanding, the Aurora is still a very, very popular ship because it's just one of the most common packages that people tend to get for Star Citizen. The Aurora game package tends to still be, to this day, one of the more popular ones, just because people get into, because it's the cheapest, of course. That's mainly the reason why. And we have the Spirit on approach. This is VTOLs down. Its VTOLs are actually active. Love to see it. I didn't see the full sequence, but I do want to give props for having the VTOLs out on the Spirit. A lot of people tend to forget that the Spirit has VTOLs. They kind of tuck in the wings a little bit, and they point some of those sideways engines down, so you get a little bit more control in your vertical there. So for that Aurora, we had a little bit of hesitation on exit, as well as the gear was still out by the time they exited. So I will say that's going to be a 7 out of 10 because of the hesitation of the gear. And of course, also they stood out in front of the hangars there for a little bit too long before they nosed up and figured out where they wanted to go. Could be a rookie pilot. I mean, it's an Aurora. Generally, that screams a rookie pilot for the most part. I know some people like to use them as little I can't speak English today. Little puddle jumpers to get to the stations and stuff like that. Me personally, I like using my 85X for that, but that's a different story. Anyway, so yeah, that is going to be the rating I'll give for them. Let's go ahead and see who our next customer is going to be. Oh, never mind. Right there, coming out of the hangar, we have a Cutlass. Cutlass is so popular today. And away they go. No VTOL on their way out. However, the gear was already up, so I love seeing that. Looking good. So we are missing the actual VTOLs on that. So I'll give that a 9 out of 10. That's basically everything we're looking for. We just want to see the VTOLs because it looks really cool when you're VTOLing and you're taking off, and then as you're rotating, to turn and go straight out into space. The VTOLs turn off, right? So the engines rotate with the rotation of the ship. It just looks really cool. So that's why we also include that as part of cinematic takeoff and landings. All right, now let's see who our next customer is going to be. Okay, small hangar opening up once more. Hangar number 4 is opening up here. Let's take a look at how things are shaping up here. Do we have somebody taking off or somebody landing? Let's kind of get in a little bit closer here. I don't want to get in front of the hangar to look, because if somebody's coming in, I don't want to block them as they come in, and I also don't want to get in the way of somebody who may be rocketing their way out of the hangar. And it looks like somebody's coming in, so I'm going to go ahead and strafe on to the side here. Here we are. Oh, off in the distance we have an Aurora coming in. Gear is already down on their approach. I'm actually going to dip down here to get below these other hangars because there's a lot of activity going on here. I don't want to get in anybody's way, but I do want to check out this Aurora on its approach here. Gear is already down a little bit early. They're kind of readjusting, so we got some stair-step action going on here. They're coming in nice and good here. They could come in a little bit fast. No, they're good. They're good. That is actually a pretty good speed. I like that. Okay, lining themselves up and touchdown. Nah, not too bad. Not too bad. A little bit of hesitation early gear activation there. That definitely could have been a little bit better. I'll say that's about an 8 out of 10. Very, very nice. Let's see. What about this hangar? Somebody coming in or going? Looks like 2 landings potentially here. Let's take a look at the first one. I'm kind of trying to be careful. I'm ducking both my ship and my head here because I don't want to get in anybody's way. I don't want to interfere with somebody as they're landing. We want to watch. We don't want to interfere. And here we have what appears to be a Pisces on approach. Gear is already down. Hopefully this Pisces will have better luck than the previous Pisces we saw. And here they go, looking good, looking solid, straight through the center line, looking very good. They line themselves up, bringing it down, and then they decided to go to the cargo bay instead. They brought it down, and then they're like, oh, never mind, I actually want to line it up at the cargo deck instead, and then touchdown. Very nice. Even though they readjusted there, that readjust was actually really smooth. I do appreciate it. We have a cutter. Oh, no, it's about to hit the side of the hangar. Oh, no, they clipped this hangar, and then, and then they pop back into position. So, unfortunately, you can see the actual spoiler, rear spoiler there for the actual, the tail. Not spoiler, that's a vertical stabilizer. God, I need to learn my turns. Or is that a horizontal stabilizer? I don't remember if the actual cutter has a vert. But anyway, the server seemed to have stalled there, and as you saw, the cutter plowed into the hangar. Unfortunately, as the hangar was closing, because they timed out a little bit there. Yeah, it's horizontal stabilizer. Anyway, and because they stalled, you saw how the ship plowed into the hangar, and then when it came back, when the server readjusted, it came back and stopped lagging. They lost part of that horizontal stabilizer in the rear there. And yeah, that's why, folks, if you're ever landing or taking off, you either explode or you take damage. Constellation here, Taurus taking off. You ever damage or explode or whatever, what generally happens, the reason why that happens to you is because the server had stalled. And you saw what happens there when the server stalls. The ship goes careening and it just keeps going, and then it'll bounce off stuff. It doesn't blow up in the moment, but it still bounces off stuff. And then when the server comes back, it looks at all that just happened, even when the server was stalled, and goes, you ended up colliding with the actual hangar there. Interesting. I'm going to take some pieces off of you now. And yeah, and that's frustrating because to that player, they saw themselves stop perfectly fine in front of the hangar, and then all of a sudden, a piece of their ship just fell off and they took damage, and they're like, what? What the heck just happened? So if you ever notice that happen to you, that is the reason why, because the server had stalled, and you have no way of knowing the server has stalled. That's the worst part of it, too, because your client is different than what the server sees, your client information. Oh, and then we have a blizzard coming in. Great. So, yeah, that's an unfortunate accident there. Yeah, so we have an impact with the hangar, but I'm not going to take points away for the impact because that was a server stall. That was not their fault. That was completely out of their control. However, their hangar timed out. They had a early gear deployment, no VTOL usage, so that's going to be a 7 out of 10 in my books there. All right, let's see who our next customer is going to be. All right, Hangar 4 had opened up here. I did take a look inside, and I noticed there was nobody inside it. That means someone is coming in for landing here. Just take a quick look around. Yeah, I don't see anybody on approach here, but we're going to stay here for a quick second until that person arrives. Again, I don't want to get in the way of the hangar. I don't want to block somebody or cause an accident or anything like that. I don't want to be a cause of the problem here. I just want to watch. That's all I want to do. I just want to watch. And let's see here if we see a player on approach here. If it takes too long, I'll just go ahead and cut it here. Otherwise, we'll just wait to see how things... Oh, I think I just saw something on my periphery. I'm just going to go ahead and line up right here. and see if I can watch them as they come in from left to right. I did see a little dot on my left, but I don't want to move my head here too much. I want to see if I can just kind of keep it aligned right here. There we go. And they come in right on time. We have an Avenger coming in with their gear down early. Iron Weave paint also on the Avenger. One of my favorite paints next to the Solar Wind paints. Looking good as they approach. Nice and smooth. Let's see how their touchdown actually is. And they do time out, unfortunately. They don't get down before they time out. And their touchdown is pretty smooth. I do like that touchdown. Very, very nice. So we have early gear deployment. Unfortunately, they timed out. So the hangar was closing before they even touched down. So we're going to go ahead and take 2 points away for that. So we have early gear deployment and the timeout. So that's 2 points we'll take away from that. So that's going to be a 8 out of 10. All right, let's see who our next customer is going to be. But actually, before I even make a cut in the footage here, you should take a look at the snowdrift as it comes off of the sides of the towers. If you go back in the footage and you see when it's actually clear out, you'll see no snowdrift on there. And I actually really like that little bit of detail. It's been around forever. I just like it. I like pointing it out. I just think these little details in the weather is always so cool. Again, this is why I'm excited for CIG to eventually add other things like rain or other, just who knows what else they're going to, maybe they'll add hurricanes or something crazy. I want to see them add just more crazy weather, and I want to see how more detailed they can get with this stuff. All right, anyway, now let's see who we get next. You know, the first episode of the season, I talked about Star Citizen's explosion of players, and there was actually people in the comments who actually doubted that, which I thought was really funny. Normally, it's a medium hangar opening up here. We'll go ahead and push on in, but normally when I do watching takeoff and landings, it's over the course of several days prior to 4.0. And the reason was because there's hardly any players that ever came in or land because of the smaller server populations, but because of the huge new servers, and then also players coming in to check out 4.0 when it first came out and whatnot. It has just been, I could do all this in one take now. This is all being done relatively in one take. I of course cut footage in parts. I stopped recording, but in this case here, yeah, I could do it all in one session. I don't have to do it over multiple sessions like I used to, which is really nice. We do have a Freelancer MAX on approach. They did pull their gear out a little bit early before they came through the hangar. Unfortunate, but it is a thing that people tend to like to do, but we do take points away for that. Overall, looking good. So far, they're not hesitating too much. They're just a little slow going through, and then touchdown. Oh, a little tiny bit rough on the touchdown, but overall, very, very nice there. I will take points away, unfortunately, for having their gear out just a little bit too early. If they took a little bit longer and, you know, bid their time a little bit there, we could have got the full 10 out of 10. So I'll say that's a 9 out of 10. Overall, very, very nice. A little bit of minor hesitation they could definitely work on for sure. I could bring that down to an 8 because of the slow nature, but I don't really care if people are slow going through their hangar. I only care that they're smooth. That's mainly what I'm looking for. That's why we call it smooth landings or cinematic landings, right? But yeah, anyway, back to what I was saying. So the populations of the servers. Yeah, so, I mean, I've been playing this game for many, many years, and I've been a content creator as well for many years now. And it's not hard for me to notice the population changes, right? Once you've noticed one system, especially where you're sitting there watching players come and go for hours on end, in many cases, 80% of that is just dead space where nothing is happening, right? And then the next thing you're doing, the next patch comes out, all of a sudden there's just player after player after player after player after player. Yeah, there's definitely something changed. Yeah, and obviously the server populations are bigger, but you would expect the server populations to be bigger and more concentrated in something like Pyro. You'd be surprised about how many players are still playing in other parts of the game, and there's enough of them where it becomes so much more commonplace to see all these players, especially somewhere in the far-flung reaches of New Babbage out here. Some players just love this place. And of course, they're also doing missions out here, they're trading, whatever, but some players just love spawning at New Babbage, and you're going to see a lot of that here. So, yeah, I just found that really funny. Some people were just like, no, I think Star Citizen's population is actually in decline now because of how bad the game is. Now, you'd be surprised, even if the game with its problems, a lot of players still quite enjoy this game. This is why CIG really wants to put some effort into fixing up the game, because they want the game to be an enjoyable experience, and it should be. The game should not get in the way of the game. Cutlass taking off here with the, I believe that's the Lunar New Year skin. And gear is still down, no VTOL usage. Okay, gear coming up a little bit later than I'd like. No VTOL being used as well, but a nice smooth takeoff. So we have late gear retraction, no VTOL usage. So I'll say that is going to be an 8 out of 10 overall. Oh, nope, they're hovering. No, don't hover. No, okay, good. All right, they're still moving on. They pulled the gear down. Okay, I thought they were slowing down to come to a hover. I think it's because they pulled their gear down. Oh, I have to take points away for that. It's going to have to be a 7 out of 10. I have to be consistent here, folks. To the best of my ability, I have to be consistent here. So sometimes people just forget. You know, you get into the motion of taking off, and you pull the gear up, and then you just, you know, your brain farts for a second there, and then you hit the button again, and then you go, oh, wait a second, I just had the gear down. It happens. It's happened to me, you know, and I'm sure it's happened to many of you as well, too. All right, let's see who we get next. And we have what appears to be, I think that's an Avenger on approach to one of the medium hangars over here. Let's get a little bit closer and take a peek here. Another Iron Weave livery and another early gear deployment as well. Look at that giant unicorn gun sticking out of the front of that Avenger as well. Oh, watch the backside. Oh, no, they clipped the backside. Do a front somersault, and now they're a little bit discombobulated here. They're going to have to reorient. There they go. Let's see if they can recover here and get a smooth touchdown. Oh, careful. Level it out. Your left side's a little bit kiltered there, but overall very, very smooth. Nonetheless, a good recovery there. It happens. It happens. Again, remember, folks, when you're in a ship and your cockpit's on the front side of it, it's always a good habit to make sure that the cockpit, you put the cockpit end of it like on the other end of the hangar. That's always a good habit to build, just to ensure that your butt's not sticking out. We have a cutter taken off. Could be the other cutter we saw earlier that damaged themselves slightly as they took off. Gear's already up there. Love seeing it. So that Avenger, unfortunately, impact with the side of the hangar, early gear activation, and unfortunately that impact also cost them more time, which meant that it was hesitation there. So I'm going to have to give them a 5 out of 10. Mediocre could be a lot better. Again, going back to the fact, folks, I don't show names for a reason. Sometimes things happen. Sometimes it could be an embarrassing thing that happens. You know, and I don't want to go up there broadcasting it. Anyway, let's go ahead and wait for our next customer. And we have small hangar opening up here. I don't see anybody taking off, so this probably tells me somebody is coming in for a landing. So yes, so I'm going to go ahead and strafe to the right here, so I'm out of whoever it is way as they come in. And let's see who, oh, we have our customer. It is a 100i, probably the 100i we saw earlier. Gear is out a little bit earlier. You can see that Aurora off in the distance, gear coming up as they take off. And then let's see this 100 looking good on the approach, a little bit too stair-steppy for my liking there, and a little bit rough on that landing there. Oof. So a little bit of stair-stepping action, a little bit rough on the landing, early gear activation. I'm going to say that's about a 7 out of 10. And luckily they were centered though, roughly there. It could be a little bit more skewed 12 o'clock there, but definitely was still nice nonetheless. And then that hangar is closing there because that is probably the Auroras. So we'll go ahead and wait for the next customer. All right, we have a Cutlass on approach with the IAE livery, one of the older ones, in fact, as they are on approach. They also have a turret gunner that's also aiming at me for some reason. I wish I could wave in the cockpit, just wave at the turret gunner as they come in. Ooh, VTOL's being used, no gear down as well, too. This looks really nice as they make their approach. Cutlass is one of the harder ships to land. Can they pull it off? No gear. Gear is coming down as they make their touchdown. They're lining up and touchdown. Beautiful, beautiful 10 out of 10. Look how lined up that is also. Straight down the center. That's like an 11 out of 10 right there, basically, right? Look how lined up there. The turret gunner is still looking at me. I don't know why I find that funny. But yeah, that is a beautiful 10 out of 10 takeoff. Takeoff? Landing. God, I'm having a stroke here, folks. Landing from that Cutlass. Cutlass, like I said, one of the harder ships to land in the game because its main engines are how it goes forward and back, right? So once you take that away and go into VTOL, your ability to control forward and back, God, I cannot speak today, forward and back momentum is now stymied by those engines being in a vertical configuration there. So huge props to that player for that 10 out of 10 landing. The only one we've seen so far today here. Very, very nice. All right, let's go ahead and move on. Extra large hangar up here in the distance taking off. We have a Polaris gear is already up. Let's see how the, ooh, look at that. Hangar's open up. You got a lightning in the back with the IAE paint. Although they didn't close the hangars, they took... I don't know why I find that funny, just having the hangar open like that. You know, I think I should probably, for the landing competition come up, actually put some... I should probably put some guidance in for what we actually grade on in terms of, like, having hangars open. Because I know somebody's probably going to bring a Polaris. And if they bring the Polaris, they got to make sure they have all their doors closed. And that actually goes for all the other ships as well, too, that may take part in that competition. You got to make sure you have your doors closed as you take off. right? You don't want to take off or land with your doors closed. It just kind of looks kind of goofy. You want to make sure it looks cinematic, right? Cinematic AF. All right, we have, is that a Taurus? Ooh, VTOL is being used. That looks nice from over here. Look at that. And yeah, that looks like a Taurus to me, and it looks like they're getting ready to take off here. Let's see how they do. No, they closed the VTOLs. Why? Why did you do this? Like, it's like they literally saw I was coming, and then they're like, screw you, hybrid, and then they turned off the VTOLs, and they took off. The VTOLs don't do anything on the Constellations, or hardly anything at least. So it's not necessary, but again, you know, it's for the looks. It's for the looks. Also, gear is still down as they take off. So a double slap in the face right there for hybrid, right? No VTOLs being used, and then their gear is still down as they take off. Oh, you love to see it, folks. You love to see it, right? So we have gear still down, incorrect VTOL usage, but overall of solid takeoff. I'll say that's an 8 out of 10. That could definitely be a little bit better for sure. All of a sudden, things have just gotten super busy here. We have a Cutlass on approach and a Pisces on approach. The sun is now slowly ending its course across the sky here as we're getting... Oh, the ship is doing ballet dancing. I think the server may have either died or stalled here, because that ballet dance there is not something a Cutlass normally does in atmosphere for sure. I would not be surprised if that ship is going to now teleport back into place. Let's watch as it... Yeah, it's kind of... No, is it in control? No, it is definitely not in control. I think this is definitely... Yeah, no, this is the server stalling. The Cutlass is acting like it's in 0G. Yeah, you're going to watch bonk, but yeah, nothing's going to happen to it because, yeah, the server is completely stalled out. Oh, there we go. Server is now back. Where are you, Cutlass? Where did you go? Oh, there you are at the very top. Wow, you're a completely different place than I saw. Oh, VTOL usage. Oh, no. They collide with the Sol. Oh no, well, okay, so more server shenanigans. Okay, so they teleport back in. Okay, so overall they actually were doing fine there. Okay, so we're not going to take points away for that. All right. I'm wondering if that Cutlass pilot is seeing damage on their screen, because they did collide with the ground over there and then did collide with the side of the hangar. They're probably like, why the heck am I taking damage now all of a sudden? A very, very strange. I'm just not going to rate it because, yeah, the server shenanigans kind of screwed them over there, so there's really no point in rating that. And that's how it's going to be the competition as well, too, folks. If you decide to take part of it and then, like, the server decides to have a brain fart at that moment, we will have the judges rate whether they're going to do a mulligan or not. So they'll basically decide whether they're going to say, yeah, no, that server screwed you over there, so we're going to let you try again. There'll be more information. Again, join the Discord if you want to check it out. Anyway, Mustang coming in for landing very nice and smooth, a little bit slower than I'd like in early. God, I cannot English today, folks. You know what? I think this is going to be a good place for me to end here anyway. We just talked about having things open earlier. We have an Intrepid with its stairs just open, just bared out for all to see. But yeah, so early gear deployment. This episode has made me so giggly today. I don't know why. I don't know why. Goodness me, folks. All right, so early gear deployment on the Mustang. But overall, very smooth. A little bit slower than I'd like. Definitely probably a 9. Probably could be at 8 because they could definitely have done it a little bit faster. But I'll say it's a 9. I'll be generous. And then that Intrepid. What the heck was going on with the Intrepid? Goodness. I'm not even going to rate it. You know what? I think I'm just going to... I think I'm just going to call it there because my brain is just fried. My brain is absolutely fried right now. All right, folks, that's it for me today, watching your takeoff and landings here at New Babbage. If you did indeed enjoy this video, please leave a like, as it really does help out the channel. And of course, if you want to watch more videos like this and much more down the line, be sure to subscribe as well. And if you want to go a little bit above and beyond supporting the work that I do here, consider becoming a channel member like these fine folks right here, whose contributions help me out immensely when it comes to putting together videos like this for you all. But until next time, fly safe, because you never know who might be watching, and I'll see you all in the black.